Hi everyone, some quick context. This video is being released both in YouTube and in my personal podcast. So I want to give you some context as to what we are talking about. So the first 23 minutes or so is actually the second half of a live podcast I recorded with Ron Baker and Ed Kless in the Soul of Enterprise podcast. So if you want to listen to that episode by itself, I'll put a link in the show notes in the description so you can go listen to that podcast completely 100%. I'm only including sort of the second half as a continuation to the conversation that we're going to have right after. So the conversation after the podcast, so it's only the first 23 minutes, is going to be the bonus episode, which usually only gets published to the paid members of the Soul of Enterprise, but we talked about making this particular part public. And what we did was an exercise, it's a business innovation exercise, where we built a business model from scratch based on three random components that one of the show producers gave us sort of in the background. They gave us a product, which he chose a blender, a dollar amount, which he chose $85, and a target customer, which is a mother that needs or it's lacking vacations, beach type of vacations. So we took those three things and built a business model from scratch, completely brainstormed, completely unrehearsed. And I think you're going to enjoy that quite a bit after the first 20 minutes or 23-minute conversation, which is the excerpt from the live podcast. And we do make references to a conference. And basically, I'm having a conference in Miami where we're going to be doing a workshop type exercises like this one. So just so you know, contextually, that's what we mean by the conference that's going to be in Miami in October called Creative Business Models for Accountants. I'll put links in the description and show notes to that as well. Enjoy.
And back on the Soul of Enterprise, and we have a lot of chirping in the Twittersphere, or I'm sorry, the exosphere, I guess it is now, the exosphere. Donna, hello, I understand you're listening live. That's great. And we have a question, guys, from Alan. And here's the question I want to run. I'll put this to the both of you. Alan says, I run a wealth management business. And as you may know, the fee model is charging for a percent of assets. So the more money you have, the bigger the fee. 6 years ago, we moved to a flat fee retainer model, assuming that the market would follow us. Almost no one has. Is there an issue that the clients and customers are happy just to accept the model and that the majority of professionals apply regardless? I think what he's asking there is he came in, tried to do a new model. Nobody's moved to this model. What do we do when customers don't move? When customers get stuck in this model? Ron, I'll hand that off to you at first.
Well, I've done some work with some wealth planning firms, and I've seen all sorts of different models. Some stay on the fee for service, some do the percentage of assets. It's a real challenge to change any industry's business model. I think you just have to pick a strategy that works for you and your firm and your particular customers, the customers that you're going after. That's my quick take on it. Hector, what's yours?
Specifically, the sort of the finance world is something I don't have expertise in, so I don't want to trip on a landmine there. But I'll draw an analogy. My aunt, who's a realtor, I've been telling her forever that this concept of like you have to show 1 million houses, and then once somebody decides to buy a house, then you get paid. But in that process, she has market knowledge of the schools, of the crime rate, of the right street, of which street is noisy, which street is bright, which is not bright, which route the police drive through, when you hear sirens, where the hospital is, the quick route to the hospital, like all these sort of tacit knowledge about like not just the multiple houses that you're selling, but the value around understanding what you're getting yourself into. And I believe that the particular with the real estate industry, all that stuff is just like customers don't care about that because it has not been brought to the forefront. So customers have only been taught that if you buy a house, the realtor gets paid, and that's it. And the real estate profession has not done anything to try to create value onto the meaning and professionalism to have a real estate professional by your side. So I believe we could draw the analogy in finance, the same thing. The customers have only been taught that paying the finance professional, it's only a function of how much money is being moved around. I mean, money being moved around is not the value that a financial professional can give. Sometimes the financial professional can give advice that has nothing to do with moving money. Sometimes the advice is don't move the money. But if there's no transaction, nobody gets paid. So the financial professional or in the entire financial advice industry has never done any training or education or innovation around where's the value of telling people to do nothing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like even like during COVID, like I freaked out and I sold my stock and I shouldn't have. My financial advisor told me you should either sell or buy more. Like he never told me, hey, do nothing, because the do nothing was not something that they get compensated on. It wasn't a transaction. And I believe that's the same real estate, financial advice. I think a lot of these industries, just the presence, just the access, just the peace of mind, just the be there for me just in case I need something. That piece, that factor has not been valued. And I think that's that's our opportunity to innovate. Let's look at the things that nobody else is looking at. And I tell you guys the example with Costco all the time. Like having a Costco card in my wallet feels good. Knowing that I can go to Costco anytime and see what Costco has, because the sheer value that is in Costco makes me feel that some procurement person that took really, really their time to make sure that they buy good product decided to put it there. That in itself is valuable, because Walmart will put anything that any product that somebody will put slotting fees on, and they have a line of credit to be able to finance. But Costco's different. Costco specifically chooses products that they feel are good, and that Costco members, like not even Costco has done a good job at marketing that. And I think that's where opportunity is. It's where's the value of just being there, or just being a member of it. What's the value of just being associated with that professional, that business, or that brand? And I think that's missing and lacking in many professions.
And I would just add one more thing, Ed, to the answer to my comment. We interviewed David Bahnsen. Now, David Bahnsen is a wealth management firm out here in Southern California, and I believe he is on a subscription basis. I don't know what his pricing is in total, but he'd be an interesting guy to go look at his firm, David Bahnsen's firm.
Yep. And Alan did let you both know that your answers were insightful. So thanks so much for that.
Yeah, thanks, Alan. Awesome. Well, Hector, you also said, and I found this pretty evocative, the customer of the future will buy from those firms that provide two things. What are those two things?
Okay. So it goes back to Drucker, right? With marketing and innovation. I think at the end of the day, there's two things that customers want. Customers want to feel very good, very secure about who they're interacting with, who they're
like you do
doing
with
business
Costco,
with,
like
I do with Costco, and like customers do with me, because I've created a huge, very important personal brand about telling the truth. Like that's my brand. My brand is I tell the truth about what I think about accounting and accounting software, et cetera, et cetera. People work with me because they're working with a truth teller. That's the brand that I try to build. And the second one is it goes back to marketing and innovation. And on the innovation side is the company that gives the least amount of friction to the value. So the shortest, easiest path to their goal. Okay. So I believe that a strong brand and a frictionless platform are the two things that customers will always gravitate towards. Strong brand, frictionless platform, marketing and innovation.
And that said, I've been thinking a lot about strategy lately, and just absolutely how critical it is, because it's not a plan. If we have a business plan, you can control a plan. You can't control a strategy. MacArthur could not control the events of D-Day. He had a theory about it, but of course the weather almost, disrupted the entire thing. And the interesting thing to me about strategy is it looks at not what is true, it looks at what would have to be true. And your two things kind of lead into that. I mean, a good strategy is always obvious in hindsight. Southwest was an awesome strategy, but nobody thought about it or thought it was crazy when they first heard it. right? Oh, what do you mean you're going to fly to secondary, tertiary cities, only use one type of airplane, have no classes, fly no international? All the things that Southwest does that in hindsight you go, but that was brilliant. And that's how I feel about subscription. Even though it's been around in the medical profession since 96, it's a phenomenal strategy because it gets to the heart of these things that you're talking about, not only to attract customers, but I think to attract talent.
Yeah, one of the things that I might have said in the past show is right now this is going to be a supply side economics thing in the short term, right? Right now, we the professionals have to change our offering right now. Okay, if we wait 5-10 years, it's going to be demand side. The customers are going to basically tell us what they're going to want, and we might not be able to unring that bell. But right now, we have the opportunity where we have the control. We are the ones that have full control over what offering we can give, and I think that that's what we're going to transform. I believe the subscription model is one of those paths, probably the easiest one to implement, the easiest one to immediately see value on, but the in the long term, okay, customers always want perpetual value. Customers always gravitate towards perpetual value, even with products. Even with products, the best products in the world offer some sort of lifetime discount, or sorry, lifetime guarantee. Okay, and that's what people buy, even if people end up throwing it away or the technology becomes outdated. The lifetime guarantee is it's something that tells the world that, hey, we are gonna our brand and our promise of quality will outlive the transaction. And economically speaking, it's very difficult to give lifetime guarantee on one transaction, on one tax return, on 1 year financial statement. So the only way to economically align those two things is we have to say, hey, we're going to give you lifetime quality, perpetual quality, lifetime guarantee, as long as you are associated with us, subscribe to us. And the only way to tie those two things is to subscribe. I just don't see any other way. I don't see it. It was difficult for me at first to see it, but I don't. I can right now at the moment I can only fathom, if you want perpetual value, I will guarantee perpetual value. You need to be perpetually subscribed to me. I don't see any other way.
Now, last time you were on, you were talking about your pivot of your firm to the subscription model. So it's been a few months. How's it going so far? What's been going on with that?
Well, I'll start with the sad news is we lost some customers, right? The change to subscription brought two things. One is a simplification of our offering. We had to, in order to be able to do this without having to make a significant investment in new teams and new employees, et cetera, we've had to reduce the scope of the work that we do. So we got rid of tax because it would have been really difficult to subscribe to both. Although I'm starting to see, like now that I'm starting to see this implemented, I am now starting to see how tax could be very super easily folded into this. But it wasn't until I took it away that I was able to see it, because while the tax was there, with my current 500 tax returns that I was doing, with those 15 years of bad habits of the customer's expectations being a certain way, it was very opaque. I could not see past it. But now that they're not there anymore, now I'm starting to engineer, okay, how am I going to bring tax customers, roll them into this, and it's probably going to have to be new customers. Right? You transform your firm one customer at a time. That is so true. It's so difficult to make the transition. And the reason why we didn't just completely destroy our firm and start it over is because at least our bookkeeping customers, they're with us because they believe they're working with the best damn bookkeepers in the world, and we truly appreciate that's how they feel. And we said, you know what, let's continue to leverage that. So we kept our current bookkeeping, our monthly bookkeeping clients. We offered a new model with a lowered scope. A few people, I would say a few people left. I would say about 15% have left. About 80% have started to accept the new reality, and the rest, we're still sort of discussing and kind of walking them through the change. I mean, at the end of the day, the delivery mechanism hasn't yet changed, which we talked about earlier, but that's exactly what we were working on for 2024. We're going to completely change the delivery mechanism too. So by delivery mechanism, I mean, emailing P&L and balance sheets. That needs to be destroyed from our industry completely. Like that's the most impersonal thing in the world, emailing a P&L and a balance sheet. So we're experimenting with different platforms, which is, okay, what would this look like next year, where customers click a button to subscribe, click a button to log in, and they have all the information they need, including potentially building a chat bot where people can ask questions about the financial statements and that sort of thing. We're really looking into that technology and investing into training the bots and what have you. So this is gonna be the reality. We're not replacing the humans. Absolutely not. The humans are still going to be there, but we're reducing the friction for the customers to get to at least the first layer of value. Get the information, get it easy to understand, and be able to interact with the platforms in a basic level, and then be able to easily scale up to the human being. So that's exactly how it's going right now. It's not perfect, but the few customers that we lost open capacity for the new ones that we're sending offers on at a higher value. So it's working. It was working out.
And Hector, I want to run a concept by you here. This is something that's been personal in my life for the last couple of weeks, really, maybe even months, and will continue to be. My son is a rising senior, started his senior year yesterday. Today is day 2 of school. We had a visit today at Austin College in Sherman, Texas. And one of the things that came up again is, hey, what's your major? You know, what do you perceive major to be? And I'm firmly convinced that not only does the job that my son will get out of college not exist, I'm not sure that the major that he will major in exists. And that's only 4 years from now.
I'm in a position where I truly need to try to encourage people to go to accounting. We need accounting professors. We need accountants. We need accounting technologists. Like we badly need them as in a profession. But you're 100% right about that. And I think I sent you guys a video a couple of months ago. It was an interview where they were asking some gentlemen about their thoughts. I think it was with Jordan Peterson. So their thoughts about how this is changing professions, and they made a point that the professions that are right now thriving with interaction with ChatGPT are the literary majors. They're the English majors. They're the philosophy majors. Like all these professions that we usually use as end of the jokes, right? In terms of the potential success. And at the opposite side of that is the accountants and the lawyers and the software engineers and the bankers or doctors or whatever. All these deep philosophical professions that think about how humans act and react, that can translate their observation of behaviors into words, and can use those words to interact with large language models, like basically the database of the world in one place, like the average of human knowledge, which is not necessarily a good thing, but the LLMs are basically the average of human knowledge. But if you start pinning these philosophical concepts against the average of human knowledge, you start discovering some really interesting things, that being able to talk to a computer is valuable, but it's valuable because that's the way you would talk to a human being. So the computer essentially is just mimicking what it would be like to talk to an average human being. And I believe the professions of the future would be deeply, deeply, deeply rewarding good communicators, like just in general, good communicators, not necessarily like public speaking communicators, but people that can translate ideas into machine thinking, or they can take the machine thinking and translate that into human idea. So the prompt engineer, which is like probably one of the most sort of common new professions, right? This is the new influencer, right? The prompt engineer. The prompt engineers and variations of prompt engineers would probably be the ones that we start seeing 10, 15 years from now be the most successful, and maybe within the roots of philosophy or history or sort of human studies.
It's interesting. I was talking with Doug Sleater, who I know is also coming to the conference as well. So pretty excited about that, to see him. And I took this away from Russ Roberts' episode from, I think, 4 or 5 weeks ago. All language is translation. All languages translation, because we're trying to translate from our brain, which doesn't understand language, to something that we can say. Then it's going in through your ears, which doesn't understand language, that are passing to your brain. All languages translation. So this is a really meta concept, isn't it?
Uh, Yeah, and I shared this with Ron. I think it was last year. Ron was speaking in a conference, and he was, teaching his sort of subscription model 101. And there was a live sign language translator on the stage. Ron, I think you remember that. It was a unique experience. And it happened to be the same week that I couldn't talk because I got vocal cord surgery. And I knew I was going to go to this conference, not being able to talk. And my wife and I learned a little bit sign language, but like everything in life, I obsessed with sign language for like 2 weeks. Right, so I started to learn sign language, and I happened to be put in a talk where there was a live sign language interpreter, and some of the signs I was already understanding, but then I was starting to notice that sign language cannot be as rich as English. And if you've been to a Ron Baker presentation, he picks his words very specifically. Okay, so like the word goal and the word expectations, or the word results, goal, results, expectations, they're three different words. And somebody eloquent like Ron trying to explain a concept would use those words strategically in every single part to make a different point. But in sign language, there's only one sign for all of them. And I noticed that, and I noticed, that person, even if the person is perfect in sign language, they're not getting the full piece of intended communication from Ron. It has been translated. So I think translation goes both ways. Translation can degrade the communication that's being transferred, or in many times, translation can enhance it. I mean, I've been in conversations where someone makes an awesome point, and then two people just like don't get it, and the other person just says one word that just sort of connects the one concept with their worldview, or maybe some inside experience, and they go, of course, that one word, that makes sense. So I think absolutely, the heart of communication, there is translation. And I think that if we as professionals understand that, and understand that translation is also sort of reframing, right, where you take the same problem and you explain it differently, or you translate it to the way that customer would understand it and connect with you can move much faster.
Well, that's a perfect lead in for the final conversation. We've only got about 90 seconds or so left, Hector. On our bonus episode, we're gonna talk about avocados and business models. Just drop a little bit of your avocado exercise on the group and say this is what they're going to see down in Miami if they come to and participate.
Yeah, absolutely. So my brother and I, who are organizing the conference, we did a webinar for like all my followers, and we said, "Hey, I'm going to give you a preview of how we innovate." Okay, and then we asked the crowd, "Hey, give us a thing," and then we give them a couple of options, and everybody voted, and they voted avocado. And then give us $1, and then everybody voted, and they came, and $49 was what they voted. And give me a target person, and we give them a couple options, and they said, I think it was like a human, it was a business owner in their 40s. And then we took these three concepts and say, okay, how does a busy business owner in his 40s, and it was male, it's very specific, like the specific, in his 40s, subscribe to avocados for $49 a month? And then so Carlos and I came up with a framework highly inspired by you, Ed, on the conference we had in Chicago like 5 years ago, where we're going to ask each other specific questions. What does the avocado look like? And we started, okay, it's small, it's round, it's handheld, it's nutritious, it's perishable. What is it used for? Okay, you eat it. It's from Mexico. It's trendy. And we ask a whole bunch of questions, like 30 questions in total. And then we do this sort of Venn diagram where we connect everything together. And finally, we come up with this hypothetical business model on how you could sell avocados on subscription to that target customer. And that's indicative, or an illustration of how, in abstract thought and abstract brainstorming, you can start now thinking about like, how do we do this in accounting and in bookkeeping and tax and legal, whatever.
Outstanding. Well, that's just a little bit of a preview. Ron, what do we got coming up next week on the show?
We're hitting another accounting influencer, Ed, Seth David from Nerd Enterprises.
All right, can hardly wait. I'll see you in 167 hours.
All right, so we got a couple of choices here. I guess we could talk about this, because you go straight to the avocado exercise, or maybe just do it in abstract with Greg's random suggestions.
Yeah, let's do that because we have the video of the avocado. So let's
Yeah.
do Greg's thing. I
Okay.
thought you were going to say an espresso machine, Greg. But
All right, so I'll start with some context, and we're recording this in the video format via Zoom. So we'll put this in a YouTube version as well, just in case the visuals are required. But we're going to try to make this as much as an audio experience as possible. So imagine there being a situation where you're given 3 random things, as we mentioned in the live show. We're giving you an object, we're giving you a dollar amount, and we're giving you a target customer. Okay, and we are in abstract thought. That means that we're not trying to connect this to accounting, or not right now. Okay, we're trying to just be creative, or just thinking in abstract, or so liminal thinking. We're thinking at the edges, right? So we got this 3 things, and we said, okay, let's put this to the test. We did it on a live webinar. This wasn't rehearsed. I mean, I love the fact that they picked avocado, because I had so many interesting things to say about avocado, because I'm kind of obsessed with avocados, but that's a different side story. So we went to this exercise where we asked, okay, what does the thing look like? What is it used or known for? What does it feel like? What is it not used for? And it's important to also ask questions that are sort of opposite, like, because sometimes the answer and the innovation is in the opposite. It's in the completely unexpected thing. It's on the twist to the story, per se. Let's call it that. And then we ask questions like, what are the alternate versions of this? And then we talked about then the human. So who is the human, the target customer? It was a busy business owner in their 40s. So we talked about what are the main pain points of this average human? What does this human value the most? What does financial success look like to that human, or target customer, if you want to call it that? And what does spiritual success look like? Very TSOE to include a question like that. And then so we went through the sort of the iterations of that, and just imagine a post-it note, the big what do they call those? The big boards, and then a group of 4 or 5 people just kind of shouting out ideas, putting post-it notes and putting them into each group. Again, at the end is to have sort of a visual representation of how we join these things together. Then we talked about the price. So we talked about the $49 as the random number that was given to us. And then we started looking, okay, is this per month? Is this per year? Is this per quarter? Is there a setup fee that has to be paid prior to being able to engage in this $49? So we talked about that in abstract. Then we said, okay, if $49 is the target number, what does the nudge up for that? What does the plus version of that look like? So we said, okay, let's think about $75 a month. And then what does the notch down version of that look like? So what is the light version of the core subscription to the avocado, to the busy 40-year-old entrepreneur look like? And that could possibly be a lower number or a possible freemium, because freemium is a very popular way of getting people's foot in the door. And then we talked about, okay, what technology is needed to maintain an avocado? So we brainstormed on that. And then we talked about, okay, what reframing of value do we have to make to the customer, so customers no longer think of avocado as a product, avocado as a lifestyle, as a way of life, as something that you need as part of your life. So then once we did the brainstorming and we put all the post-it notes, then we took to modeling. So if we were to do a Venn diagram of all these things, what are the things that connect together? And then we brainstormed on that. And then what are some unusual pairings? What are some like sort of opposites? And like, I'll give you an example. One of them was religion or God, and we just came up with like, what's the opposite of avocado? Okay, God. Okay, fine. And and I made the joke to saying, well, the existence of avocado is actually the proof that God exists, right? So that made it kind of funny. But anyway, so we started putting all these things together, and then the last thing would be, okay, if you couldn't sell this product, this is the next question. If you couldn't sell this product, what services around it would you sell? So President Biden or Trump or RFK or whomever says, hey, avocado selling is illegal, but you can sell anything around the avocado. So we started brainstorming around that. So recipes, accessories, the avocado entertainment complex, we called it, helping people farm it, the avocado theme wear, whatever. So we started brainstorming about that. And then finally, what are we not asking? And we started asking questions to each other like, okay, are there interstate regulations to shipping avocados? How much avocado does the average human eat, or how much avocado can an average human eat that is not going to be harmful for their health, and that sort of thing. So at the end of the day, we drafted, our basically our strategic model for like what does an avocado subscription model look like, and we came up with this really awesome thing that I'm going to pull that up on the screen so I can like walk you through it, and then we can do the same exercise with the random things that Greg Tirico will give us. But meanwhile, maybe you want to I don't know, intervene or ask me a question about that. But
no, this is fascinating.
No, this is great. Hector, this first off, it reminds me of Edward de Bono's book on creative thinking. Where especially the opposite question, we sit on roller coasters. What if we stood on roller coasters? So I love that opposite question thing. This also so much reminds me of candles, because candles is such a mature, candles been around for a long time, right? Centuries. And how Blythe Industries, I believe in Australia, just reinvented the market with questions like this. How can we bring candles back to life? And they did it by focusing on people's events in their lives, birthdays, anniversaries, bar mitzvahs, all the different ceremonies that we go through and use candles for, intimacy and all of that. It's just, this is very cool.
Absolutely. And also I'll save you the actual brainstorming time, because we have a video on that. And then I think it'll be much fun for us to do one live, with brand new concepts. But essentially at the end of the day, we came up with 3 packages: $19 a month avocado subscription, $49 a month, and $75 a month. And then we're going to start with the $49 a month package. So the $49 a month package was subscribe to the avocado lovers lifestyle. Okay, that was our value proposition. Okay, subscribe to the avocado lovers lifestyle. Of course, our target market would be an avocado lover or somebody that wants to become an avocado lover. And we talked about like pathways and helping people to get there. The other value proposition is ripe, just right avocados on demand. And I tell you, as an avocado lover, that's the goal in life. The goal in life is what do I need to do that at any point in time that I want to eat an avocado is there for me and is ready. Okay. Obviously you subscribe to healthier eating habits and being a contributor to the farming community. And we'll discuss how we landed in that. So what does the subscription include? It includes monthly refrigerated box with 20 avocados, wow, uniquely packaged to avoid spoilage, because we talked about the big issue with avocados is that if they fall down or if they get a bump somewhere, they get spoilage. So we have to innovate, and we're going to have to create a very special package. But the other thing that we came up with during the brainstorm is, hey, one of the challenges I have is when you want to buy them, they're not ready. So what if the subscription came with 20 avocados, but they were picked in such a way that you get 5 for week 1, 2 for week 2, 3 for week 3, 3 for week 4, and some are refrigerated, some are not, and they're built in such a way, almost like those pills that you take that come in the little boxes to remind you which pill you need to take. Imagine the avocados coming like that. So you will have access to avocado on demand, ripe, ready, because we ship them to you that way. It also comes with monthly recipes. It comes with an avocado connoisseur certification. So if you actually want to tell people and brag that you're an avocado connoisseur, if you subscribe to this box and you follow the recipes and you take the certification that requires knowing how to take care of an avocado, how to identify the different types or whatever, then you become a certified avocado connoisseur, and we would trademark that bad boy. Also, we would have a monthly avocado lovers webinar, maybe people sharing their different experiences in this journey of becoming an avocado lover. Maybe a monthly avocado art. We'll have like an artist submit different avocados, and then we'll make replicas of that. And then maybe a contest on non-edible use of avocado. So what can you do with the seed, or can you make a cream? Can you make an oil or something like that for your face? So that was kind of the general idea. And we came up with that in a 40-minute brainstorming session. And then, okay, let's talk about now the lower version of this. So the lower version of this would be 5 avocados instead of 20. And then instead of having access to the webinars and all that stuff, maybe there's just like a private chat or Facebook group community or something like that where people can talk about that. And then we talked about the plus, and that's where the interesting thing happened, because we had things in our board. We had things like religion or God. We have financial wealth preservation, because we were asking each other really kooky questions about what is totally unrelated to this, but related to the target customer, which is a small business owner. And one of the things that a small business owner cares about, they care about legacy. They care about building financial wealth for their family. They care. Many people care about God or they're religious. So we started thinking about, okay, how do we incorporate these things? So now the plus subscription of the Avocado subscription at 75 would have 30 instead of 20, but the other 10 would be like sort of different varieties. So instead of being just a classic hash, you get different varieties, so you can try. $5 of your subscription goes to hungry children, right? That we're gonna give them avocados basically, or your church of choice. So think about that, like as just easily being able to incorporate that spirituality, that God element. 20% of avocado merch. So we would have this avocado merch store. One bonus product, like an oil or soap, like something sort of derived from avocados. Monthly access to an avocado plant coach. So for people so we would ship you a small plant, and we would give you access to a coach that would you send them pictures or videos or whatever that tell you whether you're in the right sort of track of having your own avocado plant. We could limit that to the right climates or whatever. An annual pilgrimage to the farm in San Diego where it is, and then you basically build a brand loyalty. Like all these avocado lovers also need to gather together and acknowledge that they're not crazy. Well, they are crazy, but there's more of them, right? And then maybe $10 of the 75 goes to a contribution to becoming an investor in the farm. So connecting that to like sort of wealth building. So we came up with all that in like a 40-minute exercise. And like, this was like, we said, hey, if we could do this live without any preparation, I think we can have a kick-ass conference. And it came out really well. And we're like even more excited about it, because I think that this exercise is going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking at this and going, this is kind of what the wine clubs are doing. Especially with the high end, some of your payment. Now, I don't know how detailed they are, but imagine Ed, some of our Wilson subscription price going to futures, right? They don't do that option. That would be really smart.
Yeah.
So you guys want to do one?
Sure. Let's give a quick whirl.
All right. So, Greg, you're gonna give us a product.
Well, we got it. We got a blender.
That's right. All right. That's right. All right. So let's start with. So it was a blender. It was $85.
$85.
And it was a vacation hungry mother, maybe something like that. Or a mother that wants to go on vacations, or that's obsessed with vacations, or maybe doesn't get enough vacations, something like that. Greg, is that what it was?
Or just to poke a little bit of fun, but we all do this. The mom with the Salt Life sticker on the back of her car.
Okay, all right, perfect. So like a beach fan type of mother. Okay, no problem. So what does the thing look like? So the thing is a blender. So what does it look like?
It's tall, made out of glass or high-level plastic.
So all right, so we got plastic, and we have a motor, right?
Yeah.
And it's electric, and a blade, right?
Blade.
And sometimes some things that I found is that even if it's obvious, just listed there because the blade is sharp, and sharp could be an inspiration for something else completely that you didn't even think that you had that. So, or the plastic, or the motor, or the electric, or all that stuff. Okay. What is this thing known? What is it known to do? Obviously
it blends.
Right, correct. but it breaks things down, right?
Yeah, breaks things down.
Okay, breaks things down.
Mixes things together.
Mixes. Okay, so we have break and mixes, and they're two different concepts. What else?
Aerates your wine.
Aerates your wine. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's awesome. Aerates your wine. And I assume that the Salt Life mother appreciates aerated wine, correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What margaritas.
What about you, Greg? Yeah, it's margaritas.
There you go. And this is a joke. Don't write this one down, but we all remember it also breaks iPhones because people used to put iPhones in blenders.
The Blendtec, true story. The blender I have today is the blender that blended iPhones.
Yep, Blendtec.
And I saw the Blendtec commercial, and my daughter was 1, and I was starting to see my wife make the compote. So what's it called? The food, whatever, the blended food, right, for the babies. Compota is called in Spanish. I forget what it's called in English. The baby food, okay? And I saw, okay, it could blend it. It could blend an iPhone. That's pretty cool. And my wife is doing like this hand cutting of the fruits. In the back of my mind, I'm like, this could be a good thing. And guess where I saw the blend tech, and I bought it at Costco. Okay, for $400, the biggest investment I ever made in a house appliance. And in today's date, there's tons of appliances that go to 400, 500, 600. But like back then, that was like a super outlier. It's 15 years ago. Like who would spend $400 in a single house appliance, especially a blender, right? So iPhones, right? That's iPhones. Okay. Let's see. What does this thing feel like?
It feels like it's well put together. It's got weight to it.
Okay, so not the blend thing specifically, just a blender. So it's heavy, right? It's heavy, right? It's sharp
on the inside. I hope not on the outside.
Okay, sharp on the inside. Okay, we could describe some of our beloved ones like that, right? Smooth on the outside, sharp on the inside. What else? What is it? It feels loud, right?
Well, it doesn't feel loud, but it is. Yeah, sounds loud. Yep.
No,
sure.
but I mean, just what does it feel like to use it? Yeah. So we have heavy, we have sharp inside, we have loud. What else?
Oh, it feels powerful, right? You put something in a blender and it just destroys it. That's pretty awesome.
It's got a secure lid.
Secure lid.
Yeah, like spill proof, secure lid. Secure lid. So like no spill.
Right.
Okay. All right. When do you not use a blender? And this is where we can try to start getting a little bit creative. When do we not use a blender?
In a bris, you would not. You would not.
Okay. I don't know if I know how to spell bris either, but where do we not use a blender? When we need to do something delicate, maybe when we need to do something delicate with the cooking, like something more precise and delicate.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the noise. You don't use it, late at night if you're trying to be respectful.
Yeah. So like it's to not wake somebody up, right?
Yeah.
No noise.
Not late at night.
Someone up, right? Not late at night. Yep. Yeah. So at night. And these are all abstract concepts. Like we don't need to connect them with anything right now.
Yep.
What are alternate versions of blender? So if you don't have a blender, like what do people use? So I would say knife,
food processor, knife.
Yeah, even though the food processor is sort of a blender, but
but it's
yeah. What else?
A hand mixer.
Hand mixer, right?
Milkshake machine. I was thinking of a milkshake mixer.
Yeah. What else? Like maybe like a hammer, like to crushing things. Like you want to crush some nuts or something.
Yeah. Crush the ice in a bag. There you go.
Yeah, hammer, bag and hammer sort of thing. Okay, that's pretty good. Now let's talk about the human. So let's forget about the blender for a second. Let's talk about the human, which is this avatar of a beach-loving mother that really loves her vacations and her breaks from her children, maybe the vacations with the children, maybe without. But what are the pain points of this avatar, of this person that we were discussing?
They're currently sober.
Okay, they're currently sober and they don't want to be. Okay, don't want to be. All right, so like you're thinking that this person is into drinking, but we probably don't need to limit it to that. But
no. But thinking about the beach, like you're looking to have fun. You're hanging out with friends and family. You're not terribly interested in spending, $95 in an afternoon on 4 margaritas at the local bar. So you want an easy way to relax.
So you're wishing you were back. You were wishing you were back at the beach. You were wishing you were entertained.
Entertaining.
You were entertained. Okay. What are all the pain points? Okay, you said mother, right? So like, what are like the typical pain points of motherhood? Like kids always wanting a snack, maybe?
Yeah, not a tremendous amount of downtime.
Okay, kids always want a snack. Not too much downtime. Okay, good.
And it's also the downtime is it's erratic, right? So it's not like from 8 to 10 p.m. She's got the time. It might be from 8 to 8:15. All
right, so what do they value the most? They value consistent, predictable downtime.
There you go.
Okay, so we're gonna blend some sleeping pills there for the kids, I think.
Something my wife used to say to me is that she valued conversations with adults because she had to talk to kids all day long while I was at work.
I like that. Okay,
That's good.
what else? Well, being on vacation, of course. Okay, like we established
Yeah.
that
Yep,
being on
yep.
vacation,
Mhm.
they value that, and I think also the other thing is that vacation for the most part, and this is where you have to start thinking abstractly. Vacation for most people is get on a plane, take your luggage, be in a hotel, right? But vacation, like there's a meme out there that says vacation is taking care of your kids in a different city. Okay, and it's so true. It felt so true when we went to Europe. It was like just traveling, just taking care of my kids in a different city. But the vacation is not a place that you go to or a thing that you do. Vacation is a switch in your head where you're no longer occupied with the mundane and you're sort of like disconnected from the day to day. So like, would that be what they value, which would be like a sort of a disconnection from day to day worries?
A brief escape. Yep.
Okay, that's good enough. Okay, so let's see now. What does financial success look to this person? So being able to afford the vacation they want, right?
Yeah.
The $400 blender. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, like we don't want to think of the blend thing specifically. Like we want to kind of separate that, but yeah, being able to afford the vacation they want. Kids being, well, I guess kids graduating college. I guess
Yeah. College, of course. Yeah.
graduation of college without too much debt.
Hmm.
And again, nothing to do with Blender, but like this is where the gold is. The gold is here in these
Yep.
weird things.
These weird
What else
things,
does
yeah.
financial success look like for that?
Secure retirement.
Yeah. Retirement plan, secure retirement. Yep.
Retirement, financial security. What about anything? You said mother, so like mother doesn't necessarily mean wife, but anything connected to the spouse, financially speaking.
Are you leading us somewhere, or is that an
No,
open-ended
no,
question?
no. I'm priming it a little bit, but I'm saying it just we can have a little bit more answers. Like, do they want to make the same as the husband, or do they just want the household to make enough? Like, yeah, that type of stuff.
Yeah, if we're talking about a mom with or without a career, I guess those are two very different things. I have a wife who is a mom, and her money is her money, and my money is her money. So she
Right.
has,
Right. So in this case, is I would say just knowing how much she can spend if she
Oh,
is not
that's good. Thank you. Yep. Feeling comfortable with what you're spending, and not wondering.
right.
Yeah.
Even if she's not the breadwinner, right? So like, because there's situations where they could make more money or whatever. Like the stereotype doesn't have to fall. But what I'm saying is depending on how you market, because you can market to, like, we can market to a professional CEO type mom, or we can market to a stay-at-home mom, and
Yeah.
the marketing the value proposition could be different. I'm not saying it has to be, but it could be. What does spiritual success look like for this person?
There has to be some kind of sense of ease, knowing
Mm-hmm.
that everything is going to be okay.
Okay, is knowing everything is going to be okay, but nobody can tell the future. So like, is there something more concrete or tangible?
Good sleep.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, regular. I think maybe that's a regular good sleep. Beautiful. Okay, what else?
I was thinking of healthy, wealthy, wiser, and the wiser part for
Right.
her and her kids.
I would
I guess
say
that
maybe knowing what is going in their kids' bodies with the context of food, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that could be it. Okay,
or
I
even
think we're good
non-food.
enough with that. Okay, if you think of something else, we could do that. Okay, so now let's go to pricing. So when we think of a blender specifically, like, do we think can we go with single monthly, or like do we have to like sort of charge a setup up front? Like, how would you picture that? And also, do we picture new models of the of the blender or whatever being updated? Like if we think about the direct experience that Ed has had with the Roomba, okay, you've had the Roomba for how long?
Close to 18 months now.
Right. So has there been a physical product replaced on your
No, not
Roomba?
yet. I think
No.
that's somewhere between 2 and 3 years.
Okay.
That was
Now, would you expect to pay every time there's an upgrade?
no.
Or okay, so you want to pay one time? Did you pay one time for the unit?
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't pay one time. No, it's $30 a month. Originally they had a $50 entry fee, but they got rid of that by the time I actually subscribed.
But they own it. They own the product. Like they could recall it back. It's not your unit.
If I don't pay $30, they're gonna want it back. Yeah.
Right. So they'll what's it called when they'll foreclose on your vacuum cleaner.
They will foreclose on my vacuum cleaner. I'm sure the terms of service are they going to charge my credit card some outrageous amount.
All right. So single monthly should be fine, but probably possible. It would only really work if the first year is free. So I mean, first year is a contract. So first year on contract. Okay, so that allows them, that guarantees $800 or $900 or whatever, and then afterwards you go on subscription, or maybe you can go contractless, and this is where the options could start sort of moving on.
Yeah.
So no contract and a $250 fee or something like that. Okay.
Well, why would you do that? Why don't you just no? It's $85 a month. Period. End of story. See,
we're in abstract mode. Okay?
All right.
We're not solving yet. Okay.
I don't like that. Just saying.
Okay. So there's probably no room for freemium in this case, right? Because there's no such thing as a sort of a free version of a blender, and we're starting with $85. And just look at numbers, don't look at even the blender. What is like a logical lower tier of the $85?
50.
Okay. And what's a logical higher tier?
120.
Okay, 120. All right, there we go. So we got 3 models in it. All right, what technology is needed to not just to use the blender, but to manage the blender remotely somehow as a company? So what do we need? It needs to be like Wi-Fi, probably, right?
Yeah, sure. Wi-Fi blender.
Wi-Fi, Internet of Things. Okay, yeah. Enabled.
Yeah.
Okay.
You just don't want to talk into the coffee pot. Is all I'm saying.
Right.
Do not let them get together.
Yeah. All right. Electricity for sure. The power of a blender probably won't work on battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what other type of technology do we need? Okay.
I think this is leveraging off of what Greg said earlier. I mean, you want to make sure your blade is sharp. Yeah, blade.
Exactly. So now you cannot sharpen a blade remotely. Okay.
No.
And it probably
doesn't.
Right. And it probably doesn't make sense to ship the whole thing. So we need a replaceable, like easily replaceable blade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. And like I subscribe to my printer. I already have a second set of ink and a second set of drum and a second set of whatever the other weird things that comes with it. So you would probably ship a second blade while you're at it. So when you need to replace it, you sent the dull one, and people already have the replacement. Would that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So something like I don't think blending companies have even thought about that. Okay. But yes, absolutely. I think that would be awesome. Now, what reframing of value would the customer need if they're going to subscribe to a blender for $85?
Kitchen appliances for a long time were seen as wedding gifts, right? Mostly because you just kind of assume they last for a very long time and just do the thing that they were intended to do in some form of perpetuity.
Okay. So I put investment in kitchen toolage, but also not just a wedding gift.
Right. And it has to, there has to be more than even a traditional usage for a blender. It's got to go beyond just the thing that you would use occasionally. It's got to be something that becomes more relied on a more frequent basis.
So it could do more than blend, basically.
Yeah, that's part of it, but it's also it has to be something, because look, a lot of people put their blenders away, and you don't see it. Out of sight, out of mind. You want to make it such a vital part of your kitchen that it stays on the counter like the coffee pot. I don't know anybody who puts their coffee pot away.
Right.
Okay,
Which means it's got to be beautiful and come in different colors and
right. So yeah, there's two angles here. One's design, right? In terms
and
of
it's got to be, and functionality. It's got to
aesthetics.
Yep.
And the other one is just like easy access because you use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So back to like frictionless access. Okay, beautiful. I think that'll be enough on that part. Okay, now we have the first question, which is, if there was a Venn diagram of all these answers, where would be the intercepts? And I'm just gonna let me remind you really quick. Okay, let's remind you really quick. You guys can see the screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we have plastic mortar, electric blade. It breaks down things, mixes, aerates wine, margaritas, iPhones. Not using a brisk, not use at night, not to wake somebody up, not to use when you want to do something precise and delicate. Feels heavy, sharp, loud, powerful, secure lid for no spillage. Knife, food processor, and hand mixer and hammer is the alternative version. One of the pain points is not being. We'll change it from sober to blissful. Okay, so not being blissful.
Okay.
Not the human not wishing they were back at the beach, human wishing they were entertained, human annoyed by kids always wanting snacks, kids pain point, human not having enough downtime. They value consistent, predictable downtime, conversation with adults, disconnection, escape, being on vacation. Financial success is being able to afford the vacation they want. Kids graduating without too much debt, having retirement and financial security, knowing how much they can spend, just having a sense of security of knowing I can spend this, I can't spend this. Spiritual success is ease of knowing everything's going to be okay, getting good regular sleep, knowing what's going in the food's bodies. Then we have either a year contract to not pay anything up front or pay something up front and then pay the monthly fee. Then we have the three options, 50, 85, and 120. We need Internet of Things, Wi-Fi, electricity, sharp blade, easy replaceable blade. And the reframing of value is it's an investment on your kitchen toolage, not just a wedding gift, not a trivial purchase. It could do more than just blend. It needs to be beautiful, so it's always out and have frictionless access. So in a Venn diagram, which of these things you felt like went together?
If this was ChatGPT, it could do that for us, couldn't it?
True. I have no issue going down that route if you want to do that, or maybe potentially.
No. I was just thinking.
Yeah, totally. And you'll be amazed on what it can do.
Because it's just labels, right?
It's just words, right? It's just association with words.
Yeah.
But okay, so one of the major intersects here is there's a blade, needs to be sharp, and always ready to be used. Okay, so there's a blade, needs to be sharp, always ready to be used. And I think that we talked about what it looks like, what it needs to be. We talked about different ideas. So I think that's a really important one that comes throughout. Yep. The other one is the target customer wants to sleep, wants to be calm, doesn't like noise, doesn't love noise. Okay, and this is where the things become a little bit challenging because the blender makes a lot of noise. Okay, what else are sort of Venn diagrams here?
I like the intersection of wanting to know that they're providing their kids with healthy food and the easy, convenient access of this appliance in the kitchen.
So all right, so quick access, kids asking for snacks, happens all the time, and healthy options. Okay, I think I like those. I think those are great interceptions to work from. Now, what do you think are some opposed pairings out of all the things that we mentioned? Which two things seem to be sort of the most opposed? Like to me is noise.
Yeah.
Like to me is noise is like the big gap between these two things, right? Somebody wanting to chill and a machine that does not feel like you're chilling. Okay, and we're not innovating technology here, so let's not think about, well, we'll just invent a blender that makes no noise. I think the idea is to reframe noise. Okay, so what if, and we'll start thinking about this, what if, and I'm starting to solve, I don't want to solve, but what if the blender itself, it's a speaker, and when you turn it on, music louder than the blender, and music that's engineered or picked to sort of like, to sort of be the white noise to the blender. What about something like that? That could be pretty interesting too. Or maybe set it up in such a way that the noise sounds like waves, like beach waves. Okay,
Well, I
because
think all of that is still part of innovation, though. What if, you could say, what if we invented a denser mixing bowl that doesn't because what's making the noise is not necessarily the blade; it's
the motor,
the motor, and the blender volume where you put the stuff itself that's vibrating,
right? Or
right?
the ice being crushed.
Yeah.
The most common thing.
Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, also we could reframe ice being crushed as a positive thing. So like again, we don't like the noise, but we like the beach. We don't like the noise, but we like margaritas. Okay, and the crushed ice could be reframed as foreplay, towards that. Okay, because there's experiences that happen before the experience. Well, I'm calling that foreplay because I don't have the right language for that, so I apologize for that. But this is the build up to it. Okay, so
yeah, it's the uncorking of the champagne or the wine,
correct,
right? I mean,
correct.
Yeah.
So it would be reframing the ice crushing as foreplay. Okay, or juxtaposing, in this case, beach sounds or music to the blender, something like that. Okay, if you can't sell a blender, right, it's illegal to sell a blender. Okay, and what services would you sell around the blender?
And Greg had a drop, by the way, so
That's fine.
But before I do, the one thing here would be food delivery or ingredient delivery for the blender.
there
Okay.
you go.
So
All right.
right, so the food for the blender.
Yeah. Ingredients.
What else?
Yep.
Yeah, food or ingredients, right? What else? Recipes,
Recipes, of course. Yep.
Recipes, but probably beyond recipes, technique. Okay, like a blender is a button that you press on and you press off. I think some of the things that we lose by using a blender is sort of the art of knifing. Like if you look at like the sushi guys, they go in there and like the whole knifing thing is a whole thing. What if we start creating an experience around blending? What if there are levers you can push or sort of like dance with the process? Like I love like putting a stick there and like pushing things down, but the stick cannot touch the blade. So I love the dance of like how deep can I go with the wooden stick without it breaking anything, like while I'm pushing something down. So like could we gamify a little bit the usage of the blender, so the experience is also sort of fun? So the technique.
Yeah, the technique trumps ingredients, as chefs say.
Right, the technique or art of blending. Right, maybe we'll reframe that. Hey, if you're putting strawberry and banana, it's not the same thing as putting banana and strawberry, and like we can reframe that totally. Okay, and like because our blender is shaped in a XYZ way, it's better to take the softer foods first, and you could build a culture around the process of doing something. I totally believe in that. What else would you sell around it? How about the blended food in itself? What if, okay, fine, I can't sell the blender, but I can sell you the finished product.
Right, blended margarita mix or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Bloody Mary. Yeah.
Or you can sell somebody a model like look, this is, if you follow the recipe, this is what it's going to look like. So now you have something to physically compare against, taste, right? So you can actually compare your technique, your combination of ingredients against a model of a finished product or something like that. Okay, what are we not asking? And this is a very ed class question. Okay, what is the question that if I had the answer for, it would set us free?
Yeah, changed my life.
Yeah,
I could avoid death.
Yeah.
What are we not asking? Wow. Why only one blender?
Okay. Why only one blender? How about the type of blender changes or type of blade changes based on the season?
Yeah.
You know,
What
because
about
it's over.
what about different blades that do different things?
Different
Ah,
functions. Yeah.
you also can different blades do different things. Okay, what about does blending things kill the product? Like does blending cause a negative effect on the product itself? Yeah,
Well,
I know.
yeah, and the answer is, can it be used to our advantage? Because blending at high speeds actually increases the temperature of them as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
And if you blend fast enough, you can actually heat food.
Okay. Right. So, is there a benefit? Is there a benefit to sort of like aftermath benefit of heating and blending at the same time? So in this case, health benefit, not necessarily
Well, and
convenience.
can you also cool the product while it's blending, because the blending is heating it? Can you also
Okay.
keep it
So
cool in some way?
it would be the opposite
Yeah.
of cooling and blending. Yeah, that's a good question. Why do blenders not have Freon or whatever
Yeah.
at
To
the same
cool.
time?
Yeah.
You know, so to make a
Well,
frozen drink.
can you instead of having a plastic or glass base, maybe you have a metal one that you can put in the freezer.
Like a thermos.
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That could hold the
So
temperature either way.
can the container work outside the blending container work outside the blending unit?
Mm-hmm.
What about a throwaway blending container? Right? I mean, I don't have to clean it.
Disposable. Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, disposable. So I keep you guys around. You guys got better words than I do. Okay.
The green people won't like the disposable blending unit, though. So
Yeah, true.
it's
Well,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
you make it.
Yeah.
Maybe you make it green.
Recyclable.
Okay.
Recyclable.
Recycle.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's a better one. Okay. So let's go ahead and create the model. Let's create the value proposition now. So we have $85 a month. And let's start with, what are you subscribing to?
You're subscribing to blended things to drink and eat.
Yeah. Good food and drink.
Right. So it definitely speed. Like the blender also has speed.
Mhm.
So it's like
True.
it's juxtaposing that, hey, quick food can be good, but like in this case, it totally, like, we can frame around that. So
Right.
quick, healthy food lifestyle,
Convenient, healthy. Yeah. Yeah.
right? I would say also because we do have the extra blades and we will do maybe the sharpening service. So I would say always best possible performance on a blender.
Right.
Okay, which will give you finer food or whatever, or something like that.
Like the best knives are always sharp.
Right. And then within the context of the target market, what would we call this product? Like we need to take into advantage. We need to take into consideration what the product is, how is it going to be reframed in value. We talked about the reframing in value, and what the other person is going to feel.
That's a perfect question for ChatGPT to name these options.
Mom's
Actually,
best friend.
to come up with the bullet points to word all those things.
You guys start brainstorming, and I'll type it up in ChatGPT.
I was also thinking you could have an option, maybe it's the top option, but it includes a second blender for your beach house or whatever.
Maybe like a mini blender, like a mini version of it.
Or maybe just another full one for a second location. For some reason, I was thinking this was Greg, so I know he's got a beach house, so he's got to have a blender there too.
Right.
Always. So I'm asking ChatGPT, I need help coming up with the name of a service which allows you to subscribe to a blender, includes always sharpened blades, the noise of the blender has been reframed as a lead up to blissness, and
Blissfulness.
blissfulness, right?
Mhm.
Blissfulness, and the target customer is a busy mom craving beach vacations. So,
Just
so
get,
all right. So it says, I need help coming up with the name of a service which allows you to subscribe to a blender, includes always sharpened blades. The noise of the blender has been reframed to lead up to blissfulness, and the target customer is a busy mom craving beach vacation. So let's see what ChatGPT says, because we're not creative people. What about this? Bliss blend vacay. All right. Beach bus blenders.
Flavor
Tropical
of
tune.
bliss.
Look at this. Tropical tune blends. It's actually using the whole noise element.
Barefoot blend bliss. Wow.
Yeah, beach
Sand
stream
sound
blenders.
sharpeners.
Mama escape mixers.
Mama murmur mix.
Yeah, Mama escape mixers. Sea
Sunrise
soothe.
smoothie serenity. Oh my God.
I like sea soothe
Yeah.
Sea
that's
Sue
good.
subscriptions.
because you could also mix it with the word smoothie. So sea
Sea
smoothie.
smooth.
Yeah,
Sea
sea
smooth.
smooth.
Sea smoothies.
Sea
Yeah.
smooth, sea soothie, yeah. Vacay Vive, and this is awesome because it's using Vive as
And
both.
Vortex.
Right? Vive is both the music and the feeling, right? Or the sound and the feeling, right? So I like that too. Mama Murmur, Barefoot Blend. I think I like Barefoot Blends a lot. Shoreline
There's
sounds.
all these are very good.
Yeah, so great. So
Bliss box. Wow.
so
Yeah.
so the lesson to be learned about that, and we'll pick one. How about sea soothie?
Sure.
Okay, we'll do sea soothie. Okay, so this is the sea soothie mixer. Okay, and the value proposition here is that the noise it makes is reframed as path to the beach. To the beach. Let me just continue to ask GPT. It's like specifically, how would I tell a story on how the noise of the ice crushing is a path to relaxation? So it's juxtaposing the two things. Tell a story about how the potentially annoying noise of the ice crushing is a path to relaxation. Okay, let's see what ChatGPT says. Okay, so here's a story that ChatGPT put together with information. So a prelude to paradise. We all have those moments when life feels like a crescendo, where the notes of stress and busyness reach their peak. For a busy mom, these moments often blend into one another. That's beautiful, creating a symphony of duties, responsibilities, and sometimes chaos. In these moments, finding relaxation seems impossible, if not improbable. Enter our blender, not just any blender, but a vessel to paradise. The first sound you hear to switch it on. What's the first sound you hear to switch it on? Grinding, churning, and crushing ice. This might seem just like another symphony of your day, but let's reframe the sound in a moment. Picture perfect, pristine beach. Each time the blender whirls and crushes the ice, it mimics the waves crashing against the shore. Notice I didn't type that specifically. We talked about that.
Yeah.
With every impulse, every grind, you're transported closer to your dream beach, where the sun kisses your skin and the golden sands massage your feet. Which is okay. Well, I think we get the point. I think we get the point. The point is it's not that difficult to reframe that into reframe this negative thing into a positive thing. So
Absolutely.
okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, this whole exercise makes me think, okay, you go from something as abstract and even difficult, because this is so mundane, it's a blender for crying out loud.
Yeah, correct.
And then when you plug in accounting,
Yeah,
wow,
right.
you can see
Totally.
all sorts of sparks
Yeah,
coming off
totally.
that.
So let's wrap it up by saying, what else does it include? So it includes recipes, right? It includes sharpened blade, sharpened blade service. Okay. When I'm on a live video, I'm always horrible at spelling. Okay. So what else does it include? It includes maybe a monthly. I don't know. You guys tell me what else. What else can this include?
I don't know, maybe like a special surprise ingredient of the month.
Okay. Surprise ingredient. Okay. Maybe a contest of like people submitting something great that they did with the blender. Okay. How about that?
Yeah, like
Okay. So
drinks or
contest of drink or food experimented in the sea smoothie mixer. Okay. What else? What? How? What would compel you to pay $85 a month to subscribing to a perfect performing blender? Ron, how often do you use your blender?
not often.
Yeah.
I was thinking of those cocktail machines, that you see average, wouldn't it take like maybe some of the raw ingredients like booze or whatever, like margarita mix or
So
something?
so maybe we put a little package, a little frozen package together that contains all the things that would go in a special drink, and all you have to do is add the booze of your choice, and then you mix them together, and they're perfectly. So this is more the alcohol side. So fresh alcohol mixers, maybe four per month. Okay, so we're both sort of quasi leasing the blender. We're guaranteeing the um, the blade will be sharp. Maybe with this thing connected to Wi-Fi, we can see based on the temperature or whatever of the blade, we can see if it's performing the way it has, and they know when you need to change the blender. We will, we subscribe people into the sort of the blender lifestyle, the C-Sudi lifestyle. Maybe we download via the Internet of Things new tunes, like new mask sounds for the blender, and then maybe we can send 4 alcohol mixers they can use per month, and that's it. And then you start from there, and then you're like, okay, what does the plus version look like? Okay, so maybe the plus version, like Ron said, comes with 2 blenders or a baby blender. Maybe the plus version comes with more mixers. Maybe the plus version itself comes with multiple size containers, or maybe some
different types of blades.
Yeah, different types of blades, right? So you could do different things, and then maybe the lower version of that, or maybe there doesn't need to be a lower version of that. The premise that there needs to be 3 options is no longer 100% necessary with subscriptions.
Yeah.
All right, so to wrap it up, what do you guys think that this exercise at the end, what lessons do you extract from this exercise that you can connect with accounting, for example?
Well, to me, this goes back to the revenue model question. What do we want our customers to pay us for?
Yeah.
It's not blenders.
Right.
It's everything that goes around it.
Right. What is the sharp blade version? What is the always sharp blade version in accounting?
Yeah. What's the best curbside appeal in accounting?
Right.
Yeah, it forces you to think about those questions. I was thinking about how we did that in Chicago, Ed. Wasn't it the Q-Force exercise? Didn't we start with that somewhere?
I don't know if it was a Q-Force. No, it was the roof or shoe. Like, why would you subscribe to a roof?
Shoes.
Why would you try? Yeah.
Right.
Roof, shoes, guitar, right? All that.
Yeah. I guess we didn't have the Q-Force by then.
Should we ask ChatGPT how we connect this to an accounting firm?
Sure. I'd love, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does. Okay. How can I connect this to an accounting firm's business model? Assuming it's going to give me an answer. But the first thing I would tell you is, when we think of specifically uh, accounting business models, we start with the lowest common denominator, which is the customers need to be compliant. They need a P&L. They need a balance sheet. Okay. On the blender exercise, it would be the same thing. The customer needs to put food on a blender and have it blended. Like so, like the accounting firm essentially tries to fix the problem through the tunnel vision that the customer only sees us to a means to an end. You put food in a hole, press a button, and it walks out with blended food. In accounting, it's kind of like that. You put a bunch of bank statements into a portal, you press a button, it comes out with a P&L and balance sheet. And the idea is that if we were to destroy the business model and be able to use the same exact exercise, we would no longer just think of like, this is the input, this is the process, this is the output. We think of dimensions like, what's the spiritual, what does this person value spiritually? What does this person value financially? What does this person's lifestyle look like? What are their worries? What is this? What is that? And I never went into this exercise thinking that maybe we would connect the two worlds, the interconnecting world between the blissful beach loving mother and the blender. What was right in between was sort of the noise, but not just the physical noise, just what noise represents to them, right? The lack of stability, the lack of relaxation, and we build an entire narrative around that the reframing has to be in the noise. So accounting, there is a version of this noise being the barrier between what we want and what the customers want. And there's also a version of like this always sharpened blade. And I think that's our task right now, is to find that. And I'm going to continue to play with ChatGPT and see how it helps me brainstorm. But do you guys see any connection to those things?
Yes, I was listening to Accounting High yesterday, and Scott had on, you probably know this guy, Hector, Mike King, CFO. He's got a fractional CFO firm. And he was talking about, and we've been saying this for years, but it's just the way he said it. He said, the problem with regular accounting firms trying to move into advisory is they're in the box of, oh, you do my taxes. Oh, you do my books. So do you know a good CFO? I need a CFO. I need somebody who's strategic. They just don't think of us that way. This is Tim Williams. A brand can only stand for one thing.
Yep.
And I'm just, you talk about reframing like we tried to do at the blender. And I'm just thinking that we need to reframe from historian to possibility, from his history to future to making history or something like that. Just reframe it. And we don't even emphasize the accounting.
So the grand finale on this blender and accounting connection through ChatGPT is, we asked ChatGPT, hey, make this a little shorter, and then like kind of start making some similarities between this whole exercise of the whole blissful blending to the accounting industry. And this is what it came up with: navigating the financial crescendos. Life's financial complexities can be a cacophony. Tax intricacies, balance sheets, financial challenges, all built into the symphony of stress. Think of our accounting firm as your financial blender. We take the hard, overwhelming bits, and like ice being crushed into a smoothing drink, we transform your financial chaos into clarity. Even number crunched, and I love that part, right? Every number crunched, every tax intricacy solved draws you closer to fiscal quality.
Tranquility.
Sorry, fiscal tranquility.
No.
From overwhelming seas of numbers to the calm shores of understanding, let our expertise guide your financial journey to clarity. The pathway from chaos to financial paradise starts with us. So I love the use of words. This is what ChatGPT is useful for. It's just great with words. It's great with words.
It could come up with a tagline for each option,
Yeah.
it's incredible.
So this is
Wow.
what this is what I meant by we gotta destroy and start from scratch. Because if we just take the current model and tweak and tweak and tweak, we just keep creating a nastier, uglier looking Frankenstein. I think
Yeah,
we
no,
have to
just
use abstract thought like this.
yes. This is the essence of strategy. It's
Well,
this
and
type of thinking.
this goes back to Peter Block and his opening conversation with us, Ron. He where he said people said, well, I start talking about the philosophy and all of this stuff. People say, well, I didn't want you to come and talk about philosophy. I wanted you to talk about business strategy and he says, I thought you wanted change.
Right. Right.
I thought you wanted change.
Philosophy is change.
It's changed.
Right.
I mean,
that is the
very
change.
definition. It's
Right.
frustrating change, but it's change.
Right.
Yeah. One of the things I tell you, Ron, that and both of you guys, that the type of stuff that really makes me think, especially as a bilingual person, and the whole concept of translation that we talked about earlier, is when you guys say we don't even have the language to describe it. And look, I've never thought about things in this dimension, okay? Especially because I've always been told I'm a smart person and stuff like that. And the dimension of the way I think, I feel like I'm generally sort of right in the way I think. But the one part that I never know is I never know the words that I don't know to describe how I'm feeling. And just like when I was at QuickBooks Connect and I couldn't speak, I didn't have the language to explain what the experience of being in my version of the Super Bowl is like without being able to speak. I didn't have the words. I still don't have the words, but I experienced something just much more different that I never experienced before, which is for the very first time, I had to not say anything. And I'm usually not that person. I'm always the one saying the most. And I was truly listening to a lot of people, and it was amazing. It was just incredible. And I couldn't, no one could explain to me what it was going to be like to be in a place where so many people know you and they want to talk to you, and you can't say anything. And it was something you can only experience. And sometimes the experience is needed for you to see the world different. But then to be able to share it, you have to find the words. And I think that this transformation that our industry is going to go through is going to be a discovery and translation of language. Like we don't even know what this is going to look like. Our customers don't know what word to use. Like most of our customers don't know what words to use to tell us what they need from us. And I think that's a big problem that we have. The only words that we know is P&L, balance sheet, profit, and that's it. And those words are just way too robotic, too abstract, and words that ChatGPT can say and come up with all day long.
Yeah, two things. When you told that Intuit story about me with the sign language gal, doing my talk, it reminded me a couple things. One, Deirdre McCloskey's work on just rhetoric, persuasion, words, narrative, story. She's been trying to get the economists to talk in stories. And she points out that, look, even physicists, the ultimate scientists, they still have to express their shit in words.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When Stephen Hawking talks to a general audience, he's got to put it into words. Mm-hmm. He can't go to the blackboard and show his equations. So there's that. And then just your point, Hector, about the different words meaning very different things, but there's only one word in sign language for all three of them.
Yeah.
It hits home for me, Ed, when we read a foreign book that's been translated, like In the First Circle, how important that translation is, how completely subjective it is, and how it can change the story if it's a crappy translation.
Because in order for the people to be able to understand, they need to make their own connections, their own interpretations of this.
Right. Which, by the way, I think is great. A great thing that we need to bring with us to the conference is we cannot give, like, we don't have the answers. Okay. And then we can't set the expectation that you're going to walk out with the answer. People are going to walk out, like, not 100 people are going to walk out with the most revolutionary business model. I think everybody should interpret this the way it works for them.
Hector, please, for the love of God, do not offer CPE.
I didn't put it. So okay, right. So I gotta. So I did
Talk
not put
about
it on the website.
reframing.
I did not put it on the website. I've gotten 3 or 4 emails about it, and I say, after you're done, I will, I'll have you sign a letter and I'll issue CP, but it's not part of the marketing. So like, so I'm satisfying people like sort of behind the scenes, and this is sort of after they bought it, but it's not part of the marketing.
It's not driving them to it. Yeah.
No, I don't want that. I don't want that. I mean, we have everybody looks like everyone looks like they're accounting. They're from accounting world. We have one realtor, which I think it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah,
And I'm actually going to try assign that group. I'm going to say, how would you subscribe to a realtor? Because I'm actually fascinated by, like, this is an industry that, like, and Ron, I think we talked about this maybe 4 or 5 years ago as well. It's just like, I'm fascinated by this. The transaction is the only thing that's valuable.
Yep.
Right. And I get it. Like, if you don't buy a house, it wasn't worth it. But look, if I don't buy a house this year, but the whole process educated me deeply, and then next year I'm looking for houses in a different point of view, that's transformative. And that's not baked into it at any point in time.
It's all it's same with funeral parlors, right? It's all transactional.
Divorce attorneys.
Divorce attorneys. Yeah. Wow. Well, Hector, this was great. Thank you so much for doing both hours. Wow.
No, thanks for having me.
Double barreled.
Yeah, I got to put my vocal cords to rest. I'm gonna go.